Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we are anything but straight. My name is Space,
And I'm Bean.
and we welcome you guys to our show. Before we get started, though, Bean has an important announcement.
If you are under 18, we suggest you click away from this particular episode unless, we can't make ya. But we're going to be talking about some slightly not safe for work topics, such as different kink communities and other controversial stuff. So if your parents are around, either put in some headphones or save this episode for another day.
Or if you're a parent and you don't want to listen to this, turn it off.
Yeah, or if
Not
you're
all
a
of our
parent,
episodes are like this, but, just for this particular one.
Yeah. We're not going to get too stinky, but, it's going to be kind of stinky.
Yeah, it's going to be like you wore your undies and then reversed them inside out and then wore those for a couple of days. And then
what? But,
yeah, I just went there.
Oh.
Okay, anyways, moving on. What are we talking about today?
Okay, so this episode is coming out around Christmas time, and there is nothing more festive than having a controversial conversation with your family around the fucking dinner table. Because you know what happens every year, especially if you are a gay person with conservative family members, food is going to fly. So this episode is going to be talking about controversial furry topics. Why is that word so hard for me to say? Controversial. Is that correct?
Controversial.
I'm
controversial, if you want to say it. Well, it's okay,
I can't even say it.
I was telling Felix to tape the lights up with. I meant to say duct tape, but I said duct tape or duct tape, and I'm like, what the hell? I can't even speak. I'm going back into the episode now. It's like I just went in and then I closed the door. Like, I'm not doing this today. We have a wheel that you guys can't see. If you've ever watched some of our shows in the past, you'll notice that we use a wheel decide, and it's just this thing that we spin, and then it kind of decides what we're going to talk about.
It's like a little wheel of fortune, except it's very misfortunate today.
Yeah, it's not a fortune whatsoever. Now we do have a limit of 6 minutes per topic, though we may end early on a few of them because they're a little easy. And then you'll hear some sort of obnoxious noise coming from me to signify it's time to move on. So you won't know what they are. I'll just make it up as I go. But I have a little timer on my end. So
make one of the sounds of Waluigi going wah.
Wah! I don't know. I don't listen. I don't really care about Mario. I'll just be honest. Mario can suck a dick, and they need to stop making Mario Party.
What about Bowser? He's hot. Controversial topic number 1. Is Bowser hot?
No.
Aww, fuck you.
But Charizard
a lesbian. Charizard and Bowser are hot. Okay, they're both.
Imagine the evolution of those two together.
Oh, I kind of don't want to.
You'll know. I'll send you art later on. That's just gonna.
You will find that. That is something you could definitely find most likely on For Affinity.
That is Felix all the way that's sending it to me, and then I like to send it to all my friends as a kind reminder of what of a dank friend I am. Dank. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click the wheel and get it spinning. You might hear it. You might not. What are the odds? Okay.
What's the first topic?
Puppy play time.
Puppy play?
Puppy play.
Oh, I'm pup masks. Oh my gosh.
That was literally we had tried this before, but that was literally the first topic. So the fact that I spun it and it's the same thing.
Oh my god. Okay, so we're just going to assume that most people know what these topics are before we talk about them because we only have 6 minutes. So,
Google do you want to start? Shit.
Do you want to
start? Normally don't I don't normally recommend Googling stuff because you're going to find the worst in things, but please Google this one. Just don't look at pictures without a filter on. You know a little bit more about the puppy community.
Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of into the puppy community. I just like the masks. I think they're cool, so I bought one. But I haven't gotten into like the kink stuff at all yet. But a lot of furries have been being irritated or it being a controversial topic for pup masks being worn in furry convention spaces. And my personal opinion is I think it's fine. I think y'all are being whiny babies if you think wearing a puppy mask is going to, be the end of the world. Now, I think it is inappropriate for people who are into puppy play to wear, extreme gear, especially
Mm-hmm.
at a con that is all ages out. But just the mask alone with like normal clothes on or whatever, it's fine. Shrug it off. Enjoy your time. Stop being a baby. Just enjoy yourself and let the pups have their fun too. But if you're wearing your, your butt plug tail around, that's different.
And do I have to spell it out for all of you? Of course I do. So you might think, well, why is it such a big deal for puppy people, pups? Why is it such a big deal for pups to wear their full on gear within like the public area of the convention? I can't speak. Oh my god, I'm like losing it. I'm so nervous.
That's because you're timing yourself.
I know. I've never done this before. Anyway, I'll get over it. Oh, there goes my microphone. Okay.
Good doink.
Doink. Yeah. So the pups do come from a sexualized part of society. It's part of the BDSM world. That stands for bondage, dominance. Is it bondage, dominance, sadist, and masochist?
I think
I
so.
believe it's the four abbreviations there.
Yes.
Once again, Google it. But it's a branch from that particular community. Pup play is, so it is something that is born in the sexualization world of things. Whereas fursuiters are not born out of sex, although people like to have sex in them. It doesn't necessarily
Sometimes.
mean that. Sometimes not everyone's like that. It's just the fandom itself isn't born out of a sexualized culture, whereas puppy play is. So when people tend to see it, either A, they're not going to know what they're looking at, or B, they fully understand what they're looking at, but they know that's probably not the best thing to do. Now, you can be a puppy and you don't have to be in the furry fandom, and you can wear your gear. There's things you can do to like improvise, but when it comes to like full on like hardcore gear, something that I would find on Xtube, and you know what I mean, it's not appropriate.
Yeah, definitely. Like puppy play can be non-sexual. It can be. But it stems from something sexual, and that's why some people are uncomfortable with it being in a public space. Again, I think wearing just the mask or, maybe a mask and a harness or whatever is in a furry space is fine. It wouldn't be fine in a public non-furry space. I think that's overstepping, but in a furry space where, furries are familiar with that kind of thing, especially if it's later hours, like evening hours, I think it's fine. But make sure you don't cross the line. Don't wear your full on pup gear out in a public space, whether it's furry or not, or late or not, unless you're on your way to a like puppy play party or a after dark panel where that is appropriate. But just in general, just don't overstep your boundaries and you'll probably be fine.
Now, there are different, I like to call it culture bending. So it just depends, or you can call it fetish bending.
Fetish bending.
Well, because, there's like gender bending.
Avatar, but with kinks.
Yeah. So think about this. So a lot of things that I've seen on XTube, and then, of course, on other, I have a different Facebook page that I use under a different pseudonym. Good luck trying to find me. You'll probably find me. But there's a lot of pups that like to wear almost like professional motorcycle gear or biker gear, and that stuff looks rad. If you wore that to the con, I think that's totally fine because you're wearing basically something that you would be wearing already if you were motorcycling. So
yeah, I mean, it's not. It doesn't stem from a kink community. It stems from like cycling. So while some people can fetishize it, that's not where its roots came from. So
and there's things called like biker pups. There's just different. Like the puppy community is a branch of the BDSM community, but then there are miniature branches of the puppy community itself as to where they go. It's really depends on who you ask. And oh my god, I've been waiting for that. Bam. It really just depends. Yeah. I'm okay with pups in public. Well, it depends on the public space, though.
Public.
Public. Oh,
yeah.
That's a cool term. Nicely done there.
Well, go on to
remarks.
Nope, I think that's it for puppies.
Wang. That's the. Hold on.
You should have made it your burp, you coward.
Oh, damn it. No, I like the word wang. It's more fun that way.
Wang. Spin
Wang.
that wheel.
It is a spinning.
Spin it faster.
Okay. The After Dark fandom. This actually works really well, segue wise.
All right, the After Dark fandom. When I thought about this headliner, the main thing that comes to mind is the phrase that people say when they're trying to defend furries. That's like, oh, it's not that sexual, or oh, only like 3% of furries are into the sexual side. And when I think that's just a blatant lie to try to cover your tracks, and that's what I think is controversial about this particular headline for me is furries trying to hide the sexual side of the fandom.
Fur me, as in like FURME?
Furries? What?
Did you say fur me or furries?
For me.
For me. Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out like what you were saying there for a
No.
second. Okay.
Space, you and I both know that more than 3% of furries are into furry porn, right? Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
it's at least, like, I'm talking about people who aren't minors. I'm not going to speak for minors because it's inappropriate, but for 18 plus individuals, I feel like at least 80% of them partake in the not safe for work side of the fandom.
You were even saying that, and I've heard people say it too, that like people say like they try to defend like the fandom saying it's not sexualized, but it really depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Do you look at it from the glass half full or the glass half empty? For some who say that there's only 3% of the people in the fandom that are sexualized, well, if you look at all the people in the fandom, 3% is a huge chunk. But I think the number's a little bit bigger than that, especially if you go into artwork, because a lot of artists. Is that a topic that we're talking about?
No, we took this is a part of it.
Okay, so you find that like if you go into Fur Affinity or Twitter, wherever you like to get your art commissions, even Instagram, you'll find that it's really popular and a lot of people make more money off of NSFW, not safe for work artwork. But if you don't do not safe for work artwork, it's a lot harder for you as an artist to make more money in the fandom, depending on how well you are known and skill.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is in the fandom. A lot of people say like it's not sexually driven. Well, that depends. Are you talking about the fursuiting side? Are you talking about fur meats, or are you talking artwork? Because if you're talking artwork, I would say that the art side of it is highly sexualized.
Yeah.
Sex sells. We know this. That's why Vegas is really popular.
And it's also like when people say that, usually they say it even if they don't believe it because they don't want to make the fandom look bad. And I understand that, but especially if you're speaking with a part of the media, but I firmly believe that how sex positive the fandom is such an important aspect of it because it gives adults, consenting adults a space to explore their sexuality just as long as it's legal and safe and all of that in a positive way. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like being shameful of that just leaves a bad taste in my mouth personally. Like, I think adults should have a space to explore their kinks freely and in an appropriate manner, not just all willy-nilly in a, but covering that up, I think is just, it's not.
You're just putting a Band-Aid over it rather than suturing it up.
Yeah, so, like, of course you don't want to tell the media, like, oh, yeah, furries are super sexual, especially with the art. Like, no, don't do that. But, like,
if someone you're having... honesty.
Yeah, but if you're having a civil conversation with someone who's a friend or, just online or anything, be like, well, yeah, the furry fandom does have sexual stuff in it, but that's not the sole reason people are furries. There's sexual stuff in all fandoms, anime, video games, movies and shows. Everything has a sexual side, and we do too, but that's not the sole reason why furries are furries. So it's like, yes, it exists. Yes, it's bigger than 3%. I'm sorry, but it's not a big deal. If anything, I think it's a good thing.
What is there's an internet rule for this.
Is it
Um,
rule
34.
34?
34. For everything that exists out there, there is an equal sexualized part of it that already exists.
Yes.
So while some people might focus on the furry fandom, you could easily spin the topic around and be like, well, what do you like? And then it might be like, I like kite flying. I'm like, well, I'm sure there's porn or people out there that do things sexually
Oh
with
my
kites. How does that
god.
feel now?
Probably.
It shuts down the conversation because now they're wondering, are there people out there that get sexual with kites? And they're going to go Google that shit. I would. Hell, I'm going to do it right now. I am looking.
Sorry.
I've got
Quote
50
space
seconds.
2019. Are there people who get sexual with kites?
Are there people who get
Oh no.
sexual with kites? Yeah, well, it's all in caps too. I forgot it was on caps. Well, we got sexually transmitted diseases. What is the bird called? A kite. I don't know what that is.
Oh, that's a kite.
Does Demi? No. I guess there's not really anything for
Oh,
kites. So
dang.
bummer.
I think it pertains more to like fandom stuff or characters or
Or
shows.
kiting or something else. It's not necessarily a sexual thing. Damn it! I really wanted it to be a sexual thing. Oh. Beep. Okay, we're going on to our next topic. That was short and
Spin
sweet.
that wheel.
For some reason, it's not removing the ones that we've talked about. There
Oh,
we go.
dang.
Yay, my rando. Okay, Nazi furs.
Oh,
So,
God.
Hell, this one doesn't even take 6 minutes.
No, this is going to take 5 seconds. Fuck off.
Go away.
You don't
Nazi
exist.
furs is not a thing. It's not a thing. Stop making it a thing. It's just not a thing.
You're not
Okay?
a Nazi fur. You're just a Nazi.
You're not even a Nazi. You're just kind of like following the crowd. You're basically a sheep following someone who you think is a leader, but truthfully, their social rank is as low as yours is.
Bah.
And with that, we're moving on.
Bootlicker.
Okay.
Just
Next
joking.
topic. Ooh, service animals.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Now, we can take a little bit more time on this because we totally took on Nazi furs in 30 seconds. So adding some additional time here. Let's go ahead and go.
Okay, so service animals, specifically what I want to discuss with this is fake service animals. I believe there was an incident at MFF this year where some dog shit was laying around in the lobby, and I bet you that's coming from a quote-unquote service animal, which is furries wanting to bring their pets to conventions, and so they buy them a fake service animal vest, and, they're not a real service animal, but they're just like, I just want to bring my dog. I'm an irresponsible pet owner. Blah, 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 blah. Look, if you do that, if you bring your pet, a non-service animal, to a convention and label it as a service animal, I am going to teleport to your home and slap you in the face. I will do this. This is a promise.
The other thing too about it, I guess there's some. I'm trying to see where the rule about asking, like specific, like retailers, like grocery stores and stuff, cannot go up and ask
It's illegal.
a person to show documentation of legal service dogs or service animals.
Which I think is ludicrous. I think that it should be required for service animals to have an ID of sorts. Like, I believe that if you have a service animal, a part of the vest should be like a clear slip with Velcro to close it up, where you keep basically like a driver's license, but it is a service animal license. And you also have one with a picture of your animal in the vest, and then one that you keep in your wallet as the owner of the service animal that has, a matching serial number or something. Like how you could tell what a legitimate driver's license is or isn't. People could still fake these, I'm sure, but it would make it harder.
Now, according to the usserviceanimals.org, and I just pulled this up, this is what they say about a fairly asked question. Are businesses allowed to question me or deny me service? Here's their response. In situations where it's not obvious that the dog is a service animal, staff may ask only two specific questions. The first one being, is the dog a service animal required because of a disability? And the second one is, what work or task has the dog been trained to perform? Most people don't even ask, but I can guarantee you that it's really easy to say yes. You don't have to say what the disability is. You can just say yes, and then you could say to protect me or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing the grocery store can do or other places. But here's the thing, if you know that your dog really isn't a service animal and you don't want to go through the painstaking process of making them an official service animal, don't take them into stores. Why? For one, if you're going into the grocery store, that is a huge health risk. People don't know what's on your dog. Your dog could have ticks. Your dog could be carrying something on its fur that's going to blow over into something else. And the same can be said really on anyone, but in reality, dogs can carry things that humans just don't carry. Things can get places. Dogs can leave a mess, and you're not going to clean it up in a grocery store. Come on, let's be honest. But it's not food safe to do so.
Also,
Also,
oh, go
like,
for it.
I mean, well, in a like a for instance, a clothing store, do you not think your dog's hair is going to stick to their clothing? That shouldn't be their job to make sure that hair isn't sticking. But it's not your job to take your dog into a clothing store, even if it's a service animal, that's one thing. But if it's not a service animal, take that shit out the door and keep it where it is,
And
out the
here's the
door.
thing about service animals, even with those instances, is that service animals are trained to not, rub up against things. And
Mm-hmm.
service animals have a certain standard of cleanliness. Service animals are trained to get into a tub by themselves and stand still. Because a lot of people who have service animals are disabled in ways that make bending down hard or picking up a dog hard. So they are trained to get into a bathtub and cooperate. Non-service animals are not trained to do this, so they don't get bathed as often. Service animals are extremely clean because they have to be. Another high risk of having a fake service animal is that it poses a risk to real service animals. For example, let's say you brought your pet dog, who is not a service animal, into a store, and someone with a real service animal is there, and your untrained dog sees this trained dog and goes after it either with malicious intent or wanting to play. Either way, it's either posing a threat to the real service dog or it's distracting the dog from its job, which is looking after its owner. So it's just bad all around. It's really problematic for people who actually have service animals and need those animals. It's bad for people around you in general. A couple months ago, I was actually in a Walmart and there was a family running around with a Great Dane with a
Oh,
fake service dog vest on. And one, Great Danes are not typically service
service
dogs. I'm
dogs.
not going to
No,
say they
they're
can't
not.
be because they can be intelligent, but they
They're
only live
giant horses.
they
Is
are
what they
they are
are.
too big to be convenient. They can't do a lot of behaviors because of that. For example, service dogs have to know how to be crouch in between your legs to get out of the way, either in a restaurant or in line at the grocery store. They also only live to be like 7 because they're ginormous. And you're not going to train a dog for 2 years and let it only work for you for 2 years because they also retire for usually the last couple of years of their life. It's just not logistically great. So this dog was like pulling its owners around. It was knocking things off of shelves, and they were laughing about it. Like obviously it was fake. They just brought it for fun, and it was making a mess. And I saw someone with a real service dog walking around the front of the store, and I'm like, if this Great Dane sees this small Scotty dog, service dog, it can hurt this dog. So I warned her, like I walked around and found her and I was like, hey, I just want to I'm not meaning to distract you or anything. I just want to let you know there is somebody with a fake service dog. It is a Great Dane. It's causing a mess in the pet section. I would avoid that if you can, if you see them. And then she was like, oh, thank you so much for warning me. Like, it's dangerous. Don't fake a service animal. I know furries love their pets, but it's not appropriate to bring one to a furry convention unless it's a real, genuine, trained service dog.
Now, here's the thing. There are penalties under specific penal codes. I love the word penal, by the way. I go naughty with that one. Penal. Um, Penal codes, they differ between each states. This is just an example for those in California. If you are committed of service dog fraud, yes, there is such a thing. These are the things that will happen and you will be prosecuted for. Misdemeanor, up to 6 months in county jail, and up to $1,000 as a fine. Is it really worth it? And this is just for California. Each state has their own penal code for specific dog fraud, service animal fraud. So, really ask yourself, is it really worth it? Probably not. Beep. Moving on. What do we got? What do we got? Minors buying fursuits.
Oh, man. So,
what do we got here?
Okay, so I am a fursuit maker, as most of you know. And there
Really?
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed.
Right, okay.
So,
anyway, sorry.
Minors buying fursuits is a controversial topic, usually between minors complaining about, like, why can't I buy a fursuit from you? Or why can't I buy this pre-made? Or why can't I commission you? And they tend to, not all minors are like this, of course. Y'all are individuals just like adults are. But a lot of minors do complain about this when it happens. And it's really irritating as a fursuit maker to have to repeat yourself over and over again. Overall, it's a legal reason. Most states say you cannot form a contract with a minor. And buying a fursuit is forming a contract because you have to use PayPal most of the time, or some form of online payment, which you have to be 20 or 18. You have to be 18 or older to use. So already you're breaking the law if you're buying a fursuit using PayPal and you're a minor, because you shouldn't be able to have a PayPal. Also, there have been way too many incidences of young people stealing credit card information from their parents to buy a fursuit, getting the fursuit in the mail, and then the fursuit maker getting a chargeback. And a lot of the times what happens with this is either the minor keeps the fursuit and then the fursuit maker is negative $3,000 in their bank account, which can ruin your life. Just so you know, if you do this to someone, it can easily wreck their life.
Of course, they don't
I
care.
would know
They're
because
kids.
my bank account goes into the negative frequently, and it is very stressful, and it has caused a lot of trouble. So if you intentionally do this to a fursuit maker, you are scum. I don't care how young you are.
You're a dick if you do it on purpose.
Yeah. And
straight up dick.
And then, or you're negative $3,000 and you get the fursuit back, and then you have to try to resell it to get that money back. But you're still in the negatives, and you're still accumulating interest if it doesn't sell right away. So it's just stressful all around. It's not great for mental health. And that's why a lot of fursuit makers won't work with minors, because legality of it is dangerous. It's not a fun experience.
I don't have experience with minors and the fursuiting, like trying to buy fursuits.
Mm-hmm.
I only can see, times when minors try to haggle fursuit makers or artists.
Or, can I have this for free? I get that all the time on TikTok, and it makes me want to rip my hair out.
It drives me nuts, because it's no, these people are trying to sell their artwork. It's obviously written on the wall. Can you not read? If you can't, why are you here?
Yeah.
But it's just, there's really no place. I'm sorry to say this. There's really no place for minors when it comes to trying to buy artwork or fursuits until you come of age. And there's reasons for it, as laid out by Bean. That's pretty much all I have to say about that, really.
Also, if you are a minor, there's nothing wrong with having a fursuit. You can buy a fursuit from another minor. You can buy a pre-made, and if your parents, you give your parents money and then they use their PayPal, and it's a understood process. It's not stealing or going behind anybody's back. I'm not saying you can't own a fursuit as a minor. I am saying that you need to respect fursuit makers' terms of service, and I think that minors should either buy pre-mades or should commission other minors for less expensive fursuits to start off with. One, Because if you buy a $4,000 fursuit and you are even 18, you are going to grow out of it in some way. Your body changes so much when you age. And two, you should be putting your money towards more important things. When I was in middle school, I started saving up money to buy myself a fucking car. Because when I
Yeah.
hit college, my parents were like, look, man, we're lower class, middle lower class. We can't afford to buy you a car. So when I was in eighth grade, my parents sat me down. They were like, we're not going to be able to buy you a car. You can borrow ours until it breaks down. But if it breaks down before you hit college, then you're going to have to figure something out. So I put my money towards a car. So if you're in high school and you're
And then you
dropping
hit a deer.
$1,000, even $800, on a fursuit, that money could have been used on something way more important. When you are older and you have a job, buy all the fursuits you want. But right now, save your money for what you will truly need when you graduate high school.
Now, looking at minors, though, minors don't necessarily have to worry about the obligations of needing to buy a car. So if you're obviously, you don't need to buy a car because you're 12 years old or whatever, you're 15, you
I
don't
mean,
have
I
to
was saving
worry
up
about
money
that.
even then, but I mean, some
Right.
some kids are also privileged though, and I'm not saying privilege is a bad word. I'm saying you might be in a privileged household where your parents will buy you a car or will give you one of their cars. That's fine, but you should still consider the other reasons why
Because,
you shouldn't.
reality will hit you in the face and then you'll be like, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah.
But, if you're a minor and you can't really like buy, artwork or fursuit, stuff like that, then, get fun little trinkets at like the toy store or Michael's and make fun things, enjoy it, spend your money somewhere where, you're going to really love it. Obviously, you're excited, you want to try to buy a fursuit, you want to get artwork. Just respect the rules first, do your research, inform your parents, let them make the decision if they want to go ahead and buy artwork for you, but don't do it the other way around.
Yeah.
Bing bong. Next topic. We've got convicted furs at conventions, quotation, growly.
Oh, jeez. This is the only topic where we actually have an example being a person.
Yeah, so like I don't know, we've danced around, I think the two topics we've kind of danced around is Nazi furs and growly because we just weren't sure where we wanted to base our opinions on it. Just because you never know. You could say
Yeah.
that you don't really care about opinions, but truthfully, it does affect views and subscribers. So we really weren't sure what to do with this one.
We didn't
But
dance around Nazi first. We just told him to fuck off and we moved on.
yeah, but before then though,
Oh, yeah.
in the past, we weren't sure how to take on the topics. Now I just don't give a fuck. Um, convicted furs.
And this can extend beyond Growly. Growly is just a
Oh yeah.
popular example. But
Unfortunately for Growly, so there's two of those. He is the prime representative of this particular topic. You know what? I want to see if I can go pull up what he's been convicted of.
but in general, while you look up stuff about him specifically, I'm going to go the more general route. Convicted furs. This means furries who have been convicted of crimes that are extreme. Not crimes like, I got arrested because I was smoking weed in the school parking lot. Like, no, that's not a big deal. You shouldn't have been arrested anyway. We're talking about crimes like, oh, I was caught with child pornography on my computer. Or, oh, I, am a pedophile, like, and acted upon those thoughts. Um, or oh, I am into animals in a nasty way, things like that. If you have been publicly convicted and you were on the public records for that kind of thing, should you be allowed at conventions? Now, here's a reminder that furry conventions are private events. It's not like a public event at a park or anything like that. It is a private event that is hosted by individuals. It's not like a company thing. So conventions have every right to control who comes into the con space. It's not, oh, this is a free space, I can go where I want. Not true. It's a private event. It's like a private household. It is a hotel. So they can. control who goes into the con space and who can't. So the controversial topic is, should convicted criminals of specific crimes be allowed at cons? My personal stance is, I believe people with specific criminal records should not be allowed in convention spaces, especially if it has anything to do with child pornography or anything like that. And also in a an all ages convention where you don't have to be 18 plus, any age can go. I think especially then, furry conventions should ban convicted furries for heinous acts like that.
Still trying to find the record. That's okay though, because I have time. Here we go.
So the one example the space is looking up right now is an individual. His name is Growly. He has a Growlithe fursuit. It's in pretty shabby condition, if I must say. But ignoring that, he has been convicted for topics relating around like child pornography. Something I don't have the exact like law code out, and I'm not gonna say he did blank because I don't know 100% what he did. I would have to pull that up. But it does revolve around child pornography or, children in general. And it happened, he was convicted a while ago, and I think he had a repeat conviction recently. Yeah. But he is allowed at a lot of conventions. I know I go to FWA every year, and he is there almost every year I've gone. And FWA is an all ages convention. So they have not banned him. I don't know why they haven't, but he is allowed to walk around. But every time I do see him, I do see people whispering. I do see some people like shout things at him. So he's obviously not welcome, but he's still there. So what do you think, Space, about not just Growly in general, but convicted furries in a private furry convention space?
Depends on the conviction, honestly. If it's more or less something that's going to endanger, minors and young adults, then no. You lost that privilege when you convicted or when you did the crime back in time. Mm-hmm. Rhymes. Think about it. They're like, people say it, here and there, but it truly like does follow you. When you commit a crime, it is now sealed to you. Unless you get it expunged, that will follow you for the rest of your life. That will also determine what you can do for the rest of your life. And that's not something you want to be associated with. It ruins jobs, it ruins relationships, and in this case, it can also put others in danger, such as furry conventions. Growly has been convicted of certain acts. He should not be around children whatsoever. And the fact that he is at conventions is really frustrating because I personally think it's the bottom dollar. He is a high contributor of furry conventions. He does donate a lot of money to furry conventions. So, of course, if you take the corporate aspect of it, why would you deny someone access who's going to give you money? No one wants to do that because then that's less money that you're going to make. It's all about the money in the end. And I think because of that, it's kind of tainted, leadership at conventions, con chairs, and all that stuff. And so for that reason, he'll always be allowed to go to these conventions. People will know about his convictions, but no one's going to actually step up and do anything about it because in the end, it's all about the money.
And I think something else people have brought up in the past that I could sympathize with con staff is it's extremely difficult to do background checks on every single attendee. But if the furry community comes to you as staff and says, hey, this person, so-and-so, has been convicted of this crime, I think that staff would have the time and the resources to look into it if people come to them with reports. However, I do understand why conventions can't necessarily scan every single attendee's background. That would be extremely difficult and costly. Background checks can cost money. But if a certain amount of people come to you about an individual being problematic, and especially if they have proof, then I think that should be considered and taken to heart, and that staff should look into it. So like an example like Growly, where he does have public records, there is proof, there is, multiple people concerned about the attendance of the individual, then I think staff should, ban that person from the convention. And also, just thinking about the loss of money, I would much rather pay an extra $5 on my con ticket to go to a con to make up for them kicking out, like,
Specific
pedophiles,
people.
for example.
If I know a background check is going to be done, or if it's like you said, $5 extra, $10 extra to raise it just to do something else, I would gladly pay that amount.
Yeah,
Just because I
like,
know that the safety of myself and the safety of others is actually in the thoughts of the convention staff.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, I don't believe that is the case. And I think, like I said, it's all about the money and
Yeah.
they don't care. So now there is also that chance too that Growly could over time, and I'm just going to kind of go over time in general here for our timer for this topic. There is also that part where people can be convicted, they serve the time, they become better, and then they move on. For someone like that, sure, you could probably be okay to go back to a convention. You've done better, you've proven it, of that sort. But for people like Rowley, who rinse and repeat, much like the hair industry does, shampoo reference there, hey, it's only a matter of time in that cycle that they're going to go ahead and repeat the offense again over and over and over. And at one point, you're going to have to decide for yourself, when is it going to be enough?
I think the
What's going to
problematic
have to happen? Like, is there going to be someone that's going to get, like, is he going to have to create an offense at a convention for someone to finally
Yeah.
wake up and be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't put him here at this convention?
I think the main issue with that, with like, sure, people can serve their time and people can change and get better, but with how the jailing system and the justice system in America specifically, I can't talk for other countries, but I do know that there are a lot of for-profit jails, and I'm excluding Growly in this example because I don't know, if he went to jail for how long or whatever, but there are for-profit jails in America. Jails are a very bad environment, and people might be like, oh, it should be, they're being punished. Yes, but some people, for example pedophiles, don't need just punishment, they need treatment, because if they eventually leave jail either through bail or just serving their time and then being released, if they were just tortured and then not treated, then they're going to repeat their actions. So if someone serves their time and quietly goes through jail and people be like, well, they changed, they went 10 years in jail without anything, it's like they're going to hold resentment because they were in this terrible jailing system that tortures people basically, and with no treatment, no therapy, no nothing. So specifically with mental struggles like pedophilia, you need heavy treatment to get over that, and the justice system in America doesn't allow treatment, it only allows punishment.
Yep. Next topic.
All
poodling.
Right. Poodling, what a fluffy topic in comparison.
Honestly, I don't care about poodling. Is it considered ruining the magic?
Okay, here's the thing about ruining the magic. That phrase originated for mascot performers, especially in like Disney, for example, at theme parks. And it's ruining the magic because you are specifically being paid to perform a specific character in a specific environment where that is expected. Furries, your environment, people know you're in a costume. We're not children. Not all of us are children. And so, like, ruining the magic is a very mascot based phrase that furries have adopted and taken way too seriously, because there isn't a lot of magic
on it, though. There's a lot of fursuiters out there and people like personas that I don't know who they actually are.
Yeah,
and they like that part about
like it
it
too.
It's fun, it's mysterious, it's kind of like the kid in me that I kind of truly wish that it really was truly like an animal. So when I see like people quote unquote ruin the magic by taking their fursuit head off, then it's a bummer, because it's like, oh, well, there goes that. And so now I kind of just lose a little bit of respect. There's the argument that, Oh, what if I'm having a heat stroke? Or, oh, what if I'm dehydrated? Bitch, please. You know when you're getting dehydrated, and you know if you've pushed your limits. You shouldn't be deheading yourself in public. You knew right then and there when you got into it exactly what you were getting
But that's
into.
the thing. It's like a public event like a furry convention. I think you should be able to take off your head anywhere you want and not be disrespected because everybody there knows that you're a furry at a furry convention. Now, if you're at like a charity event with kids around, I can
That's
understand why that would be problematic. That can
true.
scare children. But if you're in a furry space, then I think ruining the magic is just it's like you're not paying these furries to be here to entertain you. And so if them taking their head off like offends you, then it's like, I don't know. And a lot of in poodling is specifically when you wear like a head and hands and a tail, but your arms are showing, like you're not wearing a
I
jacket or
don't
anything
actually
to cover
care
it.
if that's the case. I think that's fine. That
I
doesn't
think
bug me.
I think fursuiting is such a unique experience for everybody that people should be able to do it how they want, just as long as it's not harming other people or themselves. So like when others will police how fursuiting should be done, like, oh, you're fursuiting wrong. It's like there's no right or wrong way to fursuit. Like,
Really, there isn't.
I think there's like some people take fursuiting to the next level and are like, yeah, I don't want to like ruin the magic. I think the magic of it's really important to me. That's cool. That's fine. I'm really into that performance level and I respect that. But if that person turns around and points their finger at someone who's poodling and is like, you're a pleb, then I'm going to be like, no, you're just a dick.
I guess, yeah, I can see your point of view from it too. Like, I call it deheading yourself
It
in
is.
public. However, if it's an all ages con and there's clearly kids around, you're doing something to them because they don't know in their head. They probably think you're a real freaking animal, but
I
then you
feel
take
like
your
if
head
it's
off.
a I feel like if it's a child at a furry convention, then the parents are also furries and they're probably familiar with what it is. But if
But
you're at a
that could be
charity event or
the thing
anime
could be said though
con,
that like well the parents, it's like Santa Claus. We all know Santa Claus isn't real, but it they don't know that, the kids don't know that, and although the parents know that, the parents still make it seem very real for the kids. And so in general, if you're at an all ages con and there are children around, I don't think it's necessarily appropriate just to dehead anytime you want to, because it's the same concept. They see you for what you are, but then you take off the costume and then it's this human inside. What's gonna like break their brain?
with all ages conventions, most of the time the ages range from I think the youngest I've seen is maybe like 13, which is old enough to not be freaked out by a
True,
person taking off their mask.
but I have
But
seen like
but for example, at
kids.
FWA, they had a concert for I think it's Ghost, and a lot of non-furries found out and bought FWA tickets just for the night to go see the concert. So there were a lot of young children around, specifically
Mm-hmm.
in the lobby during the concert. And because of that, I did not feel comfortable taking my head off in the lobby at that time because I knew there were a lot of young children
Younger
around who were
people
not
there.
familiar with what fursuits are. So I would make my way to the headless lounge. However, at any other point during the convention, I would rip my head off in the lobby and not give a fuck. Like,
I guess it really depends too. I suppose if you and I were fursuiting, because we will be next.
yeah.
By the way, we're going to FWA. We haven't announced this yet.
Oh yeah.
um, if you and I were shooting at FWA at some point, and I was just like, I need a breath of fresh air, I guess I might actually take it off and just get a breath of fresh air
And a lot
for
of
that
fursuiters will
moment
take their head off and just slump against the wall for a bit. You know, it
because they're
happens because
tired.
there's only one headless lounge, and you have to go down the stairs or take an escalator or whatever. And sometimes like my glasses will fog up sometimes, and then I have to take my head off and clear my glasses at least. So it's like it's all situational. I personally don't poodle or break the magic in front of children in a non-furry space.
Mm.
Um, but if I'm in a furry space, this is my comfort zone. I'll do what I want.
I'm not, so I think this will be one of those topics where Bean and I are on opposite ends. I can understand where you're
Mm-hmm.
coming from, but I'm also firmly like in my realm thinking I just don't like it when people do it because it's not necessarily like the mascot ruining the magic. For me, it's ruining that fantasy.
Yeah.
And
And I
so
get that. I
it
understand.
kills the vibe. So if I ever saw like, oh, I don't know who, who is it? Who's the badger, the honey badger that does all the drunk videos
Is that Boozy Badger?
with her husband, who's like the moose?
I don't remember.
Well, I don't know what they look like outside of their fursuits. If I found out who they look like outside of their fursuits, I probably wouldn't watch any of their videos anymore because it just I don't. All I will see now is their head inside of a fursuit. I won't see them for their fursuit, so it ruins the fantasy.
It's really, I know we might go a little over time because of this, but when it comes to poodling specifically, sometimes I find that to be a really fun experience on its own. Like, it feels different than normal fursuiting. So, like, it feels more casual. It feels like I could goof off and just be a stupid asshole in a costume a little bit more with my friends. And like for example, I went to Pride, which is a mostly adult space, mind you. If it was
God,
if it was a space with a lot of
I wouldn't
children,
full suit at that place ever. You would
no.
die in that thing.
I have a realistic parrot suit named Rocket, and he's hyper realistic. It freaks some people out. I wore just his head. I was wearing a tank top and short shorts. So most of my skin was showing, and I just had a bird head on. And honestly, it was aesthetic as fuck. I thought it looked really funny and cool. I was just a human body with a bird head rocking around and just having fun. And it was very casual. I feel like poodling is a more casual way of fursuiting, and because it feels more casual, you're less worried about like, oh, is my skin showing under my fursuit paw, or pulling at my belt where my tail is, like, it's my tail straight. Like, it's less worrisome, and because of that, it's like a completely different experience, uh, and it's fun in its own way. I like to
Well,
poodle in certain environments
I
just
don't mind
because.
like the poodling aspect. I think it's just the removing the fursuit head. Poodling in general, it is what it is. I mean, some people pull it off really well. Some people just like to wear jeans. Some people like to wear, like Under Armour, and that still considers as poodling. I don't care if
Oh,
you
I
do
get
that.
what you mean though,
Honestly,
but
I
just
really
taking off the
don't.
head though, like.
Just taking off the head though is what ruins the fantasy for me. Overall, like if you're just gonna wear like bare skin and stuff, I have a friend, like a close friend, and he is dead set on that if you poodle, you're ruining everything. And I basically went up to him and I'm like, bro, what happens if I take a poodle and I shave all the fur off for one section of their leg? Is that not quote unquote poodling? It's like, no. And he stopped for a second and I'm like, right? So how's that any different in human form?
Oh my god, just you mentioning how like taking off the head part does like ruin the magic even if you're already poodling. I can see that. I still don't give a fuck about what other people think cuz I fursuit for myself. I don't fursuit for other people, but everybody has a different reason why they suit. But it just reminded me of at Pride. They have stands that sell stuff, right? And I was wearing my suit and I went up to the stand and I was like looking at the jewelry and I was like talking to the person in my suit head and they seemed to enjoy it, it was funny or whatever. But then I wanted to get a closer look at the jewelry because I actually wanted to buy something. And so I ripped my head off and I just had like my sweat hair everywhere and a balaclava squishing my face, looking like a crackhead, to like pull out my wallet and give him money. And you could just see it kind of like shook him for a second. He was like, oh, like he knew there's a person under there because my skin was showing already, but taking off the head like made it so much worse. And it was so funny. He was like, because when I took the head off and I gave him money for the jewelry, he was like, hey, nice to meet you.
The cool thing about poodling though is there is we're just gonna go on about this topic and who knows, maybe we'll end with it too. It's such a good topic.
It's so good because it's so silly.
It's so silly, but there's a lot of cool things that you can do with your skin that you can't necessarily do with fursuits. Right now, there's a couple companies out there that are, I think the prototypes are out, and I think they're actually starting to make this commercialized. It is custom tattoos. They're not they're not permanent. They are temporary tattoos, but they are custom shimmer tattoos. But the cool thing
Fun.
about it is they react off your body's electro. So you can, let's say, like put a design on your arm and you can then use your arm to interact with your phone by just touching it. How cool is that technology? That is rad.
That is amazing.
Hell, you could be, oh my God. You could be like butt naked. Okay. You got two boobies. Yes and no. Or whatever. You could design them there. And you can go up there and start pressing things and like it starts like changing channels and whatnot.
Oh my god.
I just look over and be like, what is that guy doing? And then I look over at the TV and they'd be like, oh my God, there's so much going on right now.
My body is a rave.
But there's a lot of cool things you can do. I've seen a lot of really cool temporary tattoos, even some semi-permanent ones that'll last for like a couple of months that are like glow in the dark. And so when you go to like dances at night and there's fluorescent lighting, it shows. And that's really cool. You can't necessarily always do that with fursuits because of the fur itself can illuminate. And so you can't always get the fine details that you want like you can on the skin. So there's a lot of fun things that can be done as far as poodling goes. There's like I don't think there's really much of a limit. I want to see what people actually do.
And honestly, like another like there's a lot of things about poodling aesthetic wise I just think is cool looking, especially if your fursuit head is realistic or like really stylized. It kind of gives me the vibe of like God, what is that zombie game where you're playing as a buff dude and you're running around a mall and you can try on different outfits in the mall? I think it's like Dead Rising or something like that.
I've never. It's funny though because I tried to play Left 4 Dead.
Is it Left 4 Dead maybe?
Well, I was trying to play Left 4 Dead and you're in a mall and there's all these sales like these fake sale signs, and so while my team is getting mauled by zombies, I'm in the middle of this live stream on someone else's like show and I'm like, oh my God, they got a sale over here. And I'm like over in the corner. I'm like, oh, look over there. People are like, bro, we're being mauled. And I'm like, yeah, but the sales are killer.
Oh my God.
I had fun with it. I thought it was fun.
But like wearing just your fursuit head and then wearing a badass outfit with it with your skin showing and then maybe like holding a baseball bat or something, you would just look automatically like some kind of masked warrior but with the coolest fucking mask ever.
Yeah.
I really get that vibe with like realistic and stylized suits. If you're wearing a toony dog head and you try to do that, you'll just look really funny. But like otherwise.
Okay, we've got a few minutes left here. ABDL baby furs.
Ah, okay. You want to explain what ABDL is real quick? I'm sure everybody knows what a baby fur is, but ABDL is a little different since it's abbreviated.
ABDL doesn't necessarily just just sit in the fandom. It's actually its own thing. It's kind of like pup furs or a branch of the like BDSM community. ABDL is also a branch of the BDSM community as well. It's kind of like its own unique like niche area. But basically what it is it's so AB is adult baby, and then it usually is often followed by a slash mark, and then you have DL, which is diaper lover. So there's different ways you can go about this. The adult babies can just be that, just like it sounds like an adult baby. Sometimes the adult baby will have a diaper and they'll love just that itself. Sometimes people just like wearing the diaper and they're not an AB. So if you look on some people's profiles, they might say that they're like a kid fur AB, or they may say AB/DL. They may say baby fur. It just depends really on the person themselves. But then you can combine that with baby furs. And so then you have fursuiters that wear diapers. I think it's kind of cute, but is it cute on the convention floor? Fuck no. It's not appropriate on the convention floor. Is it appropriate for adult men or women to be pushed around in a life-size, baby carriage around the mall? Fuck no. And you know that. Keep it inside. Don't take it out. That also applies to your dick and your vajayjay as well.
Vajayjay.
Your vajayjay.
Vajoobi.
My husband is. I'm not really sure if he fully is a baby fur or if he's just kind of like in that realm, but or something else. I don't.
Baby curious, something like that.
Yeah, I mean he does have like a set of like padding. They call it padding. They don't call it necessarily diapers. He has like a onesie. I've actually taken pictures of him while he's wearing a diaper over his fursuit, and oh my god, it's so fucking adorable. But I don't necessarily support it 100%. He is my husband, so I do also need to support that aspect about it. I don't have to love it, but I do need to support it because that's who he is and that's what he likes. And that's kind of like what you do in a relationship. You support the things that sometimes you don't necessarily love. There are aspects about ABDL that I really do like, and there are aspects of it that I don't like. So for me, it's kind of like I'm on the fence. I don't hate it, but I don't love it at the same time.
I'm also on the fence about it. I used to just be on one side of the fence and absolutely hated everything about it, but that was because I was really
Rebecca?
misinformed about what it was. What was that?
I don't know. I was trying something.
God. I used to be really misinformed about the ABDL baby fur community. It still can make me uncomfortable. It's not something I enjoy, but it's not something I'm gonna like, bully someone for or bash someone over because everybody's life and everybody's interests are different. The only thing that really will bother me and I think is absolutely wrong is any kind of fetish art with child characters portrayed in it. So of course, adult baby is an adult that's in a baby headspace. You're still an adult. You still identify as an adult, and you're just in that younger person headspace. And then DL is diaper lovers, where you just enjoy the feel of diapers or using diapers, which is its own thing sometimes. But if you have artwork of a character who is a child, especially if it could pertain to like scat. Scat is a fetish. So if you combine like scat artwork with a child character, I believe that could be considered fetish art of a child, and I believe that is wrong. Or any kind of course, sexual artwork of a child character, whether it's anthropomorphic furry or a human or artwork or not, it still makes me extremely uncomfortable, and I believe that that is wrong. But if you're just, of course, into the baby headspace or into diapers or you're an adult baby, or if you just draw your character as an infant and there's no sexual stuff at all to it, that's fine. Live your best, authentic life. If that improves your quality of life and that makes you happy and it's not harming yourself or others, then I'm, not my thing, but I will not stop you. But as soon as it steps into that fetish realm and it combines fetish with children, that is where I am like, that's where I believe it crosses a line.
I think I do draw the line there. I won't go into detail about like my husband, what he likes and what not. You're more than welcome to message him if that's the case. But um, I like to look at things in more or less like the realistic realm. So if you take this particular art, even if it's super innocent, to court of law, it would be considered as pornography.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather not have that on my hard drive or anywhere else found. It's just not something I want to risk. It's not something I want to be involved in either. So I kind of just shy away. If I see stuff and like that he gets or that he draws, I'll be like, oh, that's cute. But I really don't like. He's gonna listen to this and be like, oh, my husband's a dick. I say it's cute, but he knows that like I have my firm standing of where I feel the line should be drawn, and he's aware of that and he respects it. So and vice versa. So
I mean, I've seen most of the stuff your husband has posted, and I've never seen any lines crossed with him, so I'm not uncomfortable with him at all. I've just seen some things on Fur Affinity from other people where I'm like, that should be a line that's drawn. Because Fur
yeah,
Affinity is a line in itself that needs to be erased.
there is so much about fluidity that just raises so many questions.
But I think baby.
I tried to access it from
Yeah.
work and it blocked it.
Oh, yeah, you can't access it on a lot of like college campuses or anything
Yeah,
like that.
it's considered like a bad website.
Yeah. I think baby furs and ABDL, I think there is too much bullying against them. I think they are just trying to live their lives in a way that makes them happy, and a lot of them aren't harming anybody. They're not harming children, they're not harming themselves, they're not harming others. But the people who are in that community who do like show signs of harming children or anything like that, it's such an extreme thing that that tends to be what people think of when those communities are brought up. And I think it is unfair. But I do think it is getting better, specifically within the furry community. I think they're having more of a safe space, and that they're getting a little more understanding, which is great. Again, it's not something I personally enjoy, but I think everybody should be able to explore a safe, consensual adult space as they please. Safe. I feel like that's a lot of my responses to a lot of the kink things on here. Like, if it's safe, if it's adult, and if it's consensual, then cool.
Yeah.
Radical.
Gross.
Chili dogs.
Ew. I don't. I'm impartial to chili dogs. See, I have to be in the mood for one, and it's really like ever one day out of the year that I'm totally into it, and then I regret it. Everyone does. They get the chocolate squirties, and you're fucked.
I was about to say, because they give you the squirts. I am really into chili fries, though. They is my life.
You know what I did like? I liked when Wendy's came out with their ghost pepper fries. Did you ever have those?
I can't eat Wendy's.
Oh, that's right. We had a discussion about this.
Wendy's makes me die.
Is it Wendy's herself, like the chick, or is it like the food?
The food.
Okay.
So the food takes my intestines and rips them out of my body.
I think the same could be said for really shitty Mexican food like Taco Bell.
No, I love Taco Bell. Taco Bell is my wife.
I'm good. I'll pass on Taco Bell any day. Now, Del Taco, totally different story.
Del Taco is just Taco Bell for white people.
Del Taco is a step up. Del Taco is the target of Mexican food.
Target.
And Taco Bell is Walmart. So there's your comparison. It's not basically just confirming what you just said.
Oh my God.
There were a few other topics left, but we've kind of reached our time here. So we hope that you guys enjoyed all the fun things that we had to talk about. If you have your opinions, you're more than welcome to give us an email. I love reading them. I love seeing them. I love hearing how it's affected your life, or if you guys have something similar going on. I just love getting emails in general. I get super excited when we see one. I'm just like, oh, yay, someone cares. So yeah, send us. Let us know if you like what you hear. If you want to hear a specific topic, if you want to have a specific guest, let us know, because we won't know until you tell us. So you can Telegram us, you can email us, which I guess these days kids don't really know how to email, which is a shocker.
Oh yeah, you gotta teach that to them in school.
Yeah, God. Just message us whatever way. If it's through smoke signals or Morse code, by all means, I'll take it.
If you email us telling us that Taco Bell is bad, then I am going to destroy you.
And I will happily acknowledge this in the next episode. Do a shout out. We thank you guys for listening into our show. Do you have anything else to add?
I can't think of anything, no.
I guess happy holidays. Don't do anything illegal. Don't do anything I would do. There you go. Happy holidays, folks. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.